Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV. We are back with another video, and in this video we are going to be covering the 4th episode of the American crime drama television miniseries, The Penguin, a spinoff from the film The Batman. We have Sintani. My goodness, what a fucking episode this was. This episode was written by John McCutcheon and actually directed this time by Helen Shaver. I think this is the first time someone besides Craig Zobel directed this. So that's cool, and my fucking goodness, did Helen Shaver and John McCutcheon do a great job with this episode. Again, this TV show continues to outdo itself every single time. Another amazing episode. So many implications, so many things we find out about different characters. It's fucking awesome. Let's get into it. So getting into what happens, again, this is a spoiler review. We're going to be discussing every major plot point in this TV show and then commenting on that. After intercepting Oz and Sofia outside the nightclub, Nadia Maroney exposes Oz's duplicity, which includes killing Alberto to Sofia. So Sofia finds out about it. Oz pleads for his life, claiming he was only using Sofia to gain access to bliss. So holy fuck, Sofia is just getting shit on right now by Oz and the Maroneys. This is insane. When Victor arrives and hits Maroney's henchman with the car, Oz escapes with him, leaving a wounded Sofia behind. Obviously, we saw this. This was kind of the cliffhanger, and I was really anticipating this episode, and boy, it didn't disappoint, because that cliffhanger, holy fucking shit. She calls Dr. Rush for help before collapsing from her wounds. You know, I don't remember what fucking happened to her. I think she got, like, pushed on the ground or something. I don't know. I don't think she got, like, shot or anything. Now we get some flashbacks. Now we learn more about Sofia's character, and this was very much needed. This was another case, just like Victor, that we were very, very kind of curious on. In flashbacks, Sofia discovers the body of her mother, Isabella, who appears to have hanged herself. Obviously, as a kid, she found this, and this was one of the more traumatizing things you could go through as a child, is literally witnessing your dead mother. That is very sad. So years later, Sofia heads a foundation named in honor of her mother and is friendly with Oz, her driver. You know, those two have a pretty stable, pretty good relationship. It's all going well. You know, then, you know, while leaving a charity event, Sofia is approached by a reporter, Summer Gleason, who tells her that several women who worked at the Iceberg Lounge died of apparent suicides, just as Isabella did. So it's kind of crazy, you know, this reporter is kind of putting things together, like, maybe your dad fucking did this. Sofia refuses to get involved, and obviously, you know, being a family member in a crime family, you can't talk to news outlets, and she decides not to do it for now. Sofia's father, Carmine, expressed pride in her and hopes she can succeed him as a crime boss instead of her brother, because obviously you usually give it off to the son, but Carmine has really high hopes for his daughter, and he thinks that she can really get it done. And she's a really responsible person, she's a good kid, all this type of stuff. So she asks him about her mother's death, but Carmine maintains that it was suicide. You know, he is not budging in that regard. Summer continues asking Sofia for help in gaining access to Carmine's clubs, asserting that the wounds in Isabella's neck are evidence of murder, like a lethal injection or something that Carmine gave to her, along those lines. Sofia begins to recall other details that point to her mother having been murdered. And it's insane, because, like, there were no signs that her mother had any mental issues, and now she's trying to kind of piecing the puzzle together just now while her father was alive. Obviously, this happened before his death. This happened years and years, probably like a decade back in time. So Carmine confronts Sofia over her meetings with Summer, revealing that Oz informed on her and that she is part of a police investigation into the hanging deaths. She has become involved now that she talked with a reporter, and obviously Oz is a bit of a snitch for this, but he's trying to do his job. He's trying to become a made man. He's trying to get some validation from Carmine, so it's pretty understandable. Carmine is a suspect, of course, and Sofia notes that his hands were hurt on the day she found her mother's corpse. Carmine dismisses her and orders Oz to drive her home. Like, get her the fuck out of here. And make sure she doesn't talk to reporters. This is getting really bad. Obviously, Carmine looks fucking terrible now. So, on the way, they are pulled over by William Kinsey, a new character, played by Peter McDonald, and other police officers, who arrest Sofia for the murder of the women, Summer included. So her father basically frames her for murder, and this is when we find out she isn't actually the hangman. She isn't actually, like, this fucking psychopath that killed a bunch of women. And, like, this whole time I believe she was, and it's a fucking crazy plot twist. I know this was probably included in the comic books and people already know it, but it's great for me to get a fresh take and to get an insane plot twist like this. She is sent to Arkham Asylum for 6 months while awaiting trial, earning the nickname of the Hangman in the press, of course. This is the whole infamous situation where she was known as a psychopath in the news. She's brutalized by other inmates and subjected to electroshock therapy by her dad's orders, most likely. Nevertheless, Ventress's associate, Dr. Rush, is skeptical that Sofia truly committed the crimes. Like, is she really that type of person? You know, he's doing these psych evaluations and he's starting to kind of know her more as a person, and he's thinking, like, she seems a little too sane to do this. you know? So 6 months later, Alberto visits Sofia, informing her that Ventress convinced the judge that Sofia was not competent to stand trial, confining her to Arkham indefinitely. She has to stay there pretty much for the rest of her life unless she kind of proves or like redeems herself, or there's an appeal that goes through, and now she has to sit through this fucking mental hospital. And obviously Ventress was hired by her father to do just this, to pretty much ruin his daughter's life for even trying to get him in trouble. Sofia, being too good of a kid and being too honest, having too much integrity, really got the best of her and really kind of cost some things for her. Reaching her breaking point, Sofia kills Magpie, a fellow inmate, before getting sedated. Fucking insane. That scene was insane. This episode was really fucking good, by the way. That's kind of the end of the flashbacks. Obviously, Magpie was the one that was like using the squeaky voice and like kind of pissing everyone off. So in the present day, Sofia awakens in Rush's house, obviously from her injuries. She insinuates that Rush is motivated by romantic feelings for her instead of morality or altruism. Again, she sees through things. She's a very smart girl. She knows people's motives, and she sees this out of Rush. She then laments her situation and how she has no allies, but comes to realize that the world itself is broken instead of her. She's not the problem here. Sofia then goes to her family home, where Luca is presiding over a family dinner, and condemns her relatives for refusing to help her and instead writing letters claiming she was criminally insane to keep her in Arkham. Kind of having this whole rant, kind of shitting on the family, like, you guys are fucking bitches. You guys weren't there for me. I'm a part of your family, and you just let me fucking down completely. So that night, she secretly escorts Gia, daughter of her cousin Carla, out of the mansion, and they sleep in the greenhouse. And then in the morning, this is fucking insane, Sofia returns to the house, where she has released a gas that killed everyone inside overnight. I mean, this is fucking insane. Obviously, we know her to be a sane person. Being in that asylum and, hearing about all the stories of the other inmates, that had to have inclined her to learn shit like this. Like, what? This is fucking crazy. Armed with a pistol, she wakes the only survivor, Johnny Vitti, telling them that they must talk. And it is getting a little saturated, the end of these episodes involving, like, hey, we need to talk and we need to form a partnership. But it's cool. There's a lot of implications. It's a very good cliffhanger. Holy shit, this was electric, man. Getting into kind of the review stuff, let me just say first off, Krista Milioti is absolutely stunning. She is a gorgeous woman, and her performance was fucking incredible. This was great. Awesome stuff. I would say this is another B+ episode, maybe even an A- if you want to kind of give it that. I would definitely say it's a higher B+ than the last episode. It's really fucking good. On its own, Centani is a well-executed episode of television that gets to the heart of Sofia's arc and drums up a ton of sympathy for her, which justifies its departure from the realistic, gritty mob story Penguin has told thus far. It's just that its placement within the series feels kind of clunky, maybe it's a little inappropriate. A second consecutive flashback episode with even less time for Oz's plot to progress feels like a last chance effort to shoehorn in this part of the story before halftime. Nice mid-season, I think it's a good mid-season finale, and I think it's somewhat appropriate to do that, but I do agree, Oz's story is very much slowly progressing, whereas at the start it really had the momentum. I'm fine with that though. I'm fine with the flashbacks. So while it has some of the series' best moments so far, namely like the ending sequence thanks to Christian Milioti, it feels like it's time to get back to the action. There's definitely some impatience there. You really hope that next episode they kind of get back to the main story. I mean, I'm sure they will, now that they've kind of highlighted characters like Victor and highlighted characters like Sofia. It's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Again, great episode. It's an episode of very high highs married to some discombobulating lows. Milioti remains excellent throughout. Her grasp with Sofia is what keeps the episode working as it makes its various gigantic plot moves. On a gut level, it hits hard. Even as the brain frequently intervenes a few moments later with a series of incredulous yeah buts. If nothing else, it feels like the Penguin has finally gotten to a story it wants to tell, the irony being that it basically had to jettison its title character to get there. It's good. I mean, the Hangman was the illusion of a monster, created by a monster to absorb the fallout of his monstrous deeds. It's such an interesting story arc to see this. Rather than remain the monster that her family made of her, Sofia mutates into a triumphant manifestation of her own wrath and the wrath of the woman her father killed. In Gotham City, you either die the victim or live long enough to see yourself become the criminal of the week. And there you fucking go. You get that with Milioti's character here. Absolutely amazing with Sofia Falcone. Obviously, episode 4 is Sofia's story. It's a masterclass of New Jersey Italian mafia family acting from Milioti, and dare I say, she just vaulted herself into a damn Emmy conversation with this. This was incredible. She did fucking great. You know, she conveyed all of her emotions well. Such a well-acted part here from her. Even though it barely features old Oz Cobb, it's the best episode of The Penguin yet. Easily to me, I think it is absolutely fantastic. More than revealing that Sofia is not actually a murderer, Centani fleshes out her relationship to her family and to Oz. Where previous episodes told us about the bond she shared with Alberto, here we see it in everything from their joking rapport to his desperation to set her free. So again, this episode does a good job at also kind of developing the relationship between her and her brother. Storylines about gang wars, rats, and drug running all take a backseat as Centani narrows in on what the series has been doing best. It's character work. You know, the backstories. I think that's where the best moments from the show have come from. It's going to be hard for the remaining 4 episodes of The Penguin to top this, but if this is any indication, we're in for a wild and satisfying ride as we have a whole other half of a season to push the story forward. I think it is great. It would be the ultimate twist to see Oz fall, the Penguin to be no more, but in the Batman universe, that's obviously a hard pill to swallow. Whether Sofia can survive and take him out remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the showdown is just beginning. Obviously, the betrayal from the cliffhanger at the start of the episode is really setting up for some crazy fucking shit moving forward. It's great. I mean, the Penguin Season 1 Episode 4, Centani, might be the show's most captivating episode yet by placing its focus on Sofia Falcone and her transformation into the cold mastermind she is. Again, it's just a really good character study. It's just a really good kind of like, what do you call that? An allegory, maybe, about her? I don't know. I think I'm gonna call it quits for the video, though. Really good episode again. Like, if you guys haven't seen this show, obviously you wouldn't get this far in the video because you know it is a spoiler review. Please go check this out. This is some amazing fucking television put together by Warner Bros. And put together by the DCEU. Awesome. I love this adaptation of the Penguin so far. I love this integration into the Batman universe. It's been fucking fun. I'm out, guys. Have a good rest of your day.